The new 350 Legend. A lot of talk about it. It's a new cartridge in the block. If you're wondering how to reload for this, stay tuned. We're going to go over Lee's new 3 Pacesetter die for the 350 Legend and also the new Collet style Crimp die. I'll show you guys how to set these dies up, show the internal functions of the dies, give you guys some measurements, load some of these up, and we'll take them out to the range to see what they do. Those have been reloading with Lee Precision for a long time. You can definitely tell that this is a new container for their single die sets, and it looks pretty slick. Inside this new container houses the Collet style Crimp die for 350 Legend and basic instructions. Just like Lee's other Collet dies and neck sizing dies, this one uses the ram pressure to close those fingers and put a slight crimp around the case mouth. Since the 350 Legend indexes off the case mouth, similar to the 9mm Parabellum, this style crimp is needed. With a max length of 1.710, the preferred trim length is 1.70. Since every rifle is different, it's always recommended to get your actual chamber measurement on your rifle. Some do this by doing a chamber cast that you could buy from Roto Metals or just buy bismuth. I also put in the link in the description below, a link to how to make a chamber tool to get your overall measurement. Once you find this measurement, you could definitely compare this to SAMI specs. The reason why this is crucial is to circumvent and eliminate the possible causes of light primer strikes and failure to fire. What I like to do is get my chamber measurement, make sure it's within SAMI spec, and trim back 5/1000ths from that measurement. Now the Lee 3 Pacesetter dies come with this traditional box, nothing different here. Inside houses its instructions and Lee's sizing lubricant for the dies. Also inside is the shell holder number 4, universal for 223 case heads. One thing is missing though, you can see that the Lee dipper is not there. One thing I was hoping to find was some load data. Usually Lee puts this in their manuals. Unfortunately, since this is new in the market, there is none as of yet from the date of this video. From factory, these things come doused with machine oil, so we're going to clean this with an acetone based cleaner. Here's a quick tip. If you have an AR-15 armor's wrench, it fits the die perfectly. You can use this as leverage as you remove the jam nut or reinstall for the decapping pin. Now here's the dies disassembled, starting left to right. Got the folding sizing die, in the middle will be the powder through expanding die, and then third, of course, the bullet seating die. Now on the bullet seating stem itself, I found it to be a very deep pocket, and it fits the FTX bullets very snug. So I think these will work for those longer OGOT bullets. Now the folding sizing die uses a traditional decapping pin. A very good upgrade I recommend is getting one of these Squirrel Daddy ones. They've been very robust and it's always good to have extras on hand. As I mentioned, these dies are full of machine oil, and after removing all the O-rings and disassembling the dies, I'm using an acetone based cleaner. On hand I had some of this powder blast, which leaves a nice orange scent. Now I'm going to be setting these dies up on a Lee Valley turret press. Station number 1 for the folding sizing die, pretty simple. With the ram all the way up, you screw in the die until it kisses the shell holder. After that, lower the ram and screw in the die 1/4 to 1/3 of a turn more. One thing that I notice a lot of people do is either remove the lock ring, replace it, or really snug down that lock ring that Lee provides. In fact, that's actually incorrect. The O-ring is actually Lee's simple design to improve concentricity and allow the die to free float and self-center on your cartridge. Even Lee Precision states this in their manual. You want to only tighten the lock ring finger tight. The Lee folding sizing die does a great job getting close to SAMI spec. What I measured was only a few thousandths from the case mouth and also the case head, as you can see here in these pictures. Installing the Lee powder through expanding die is pretty similar. With the ram all the way up, you screw it in until it touches the shell holder. Now, after this, you lower the ram and back it out one full turn. From here, you're going to adjust the case flare to your liking by screwing in the die or backing it out as needed. I personally prefer just enough flare to make the bullets stand straight up. The powder through expanding die comes with this basic powder funnel adapter, which basically allows you to use a, funnel of course. As you see here, I'm actually using the Lyman Brass Smith The reason why is because this thing really drops fine ball powder very accurately. The powder measure bracket you see here is made by Treetop Flyer. I'll put a link in the description below as well. Now, installing the bullet seating die, you can use a factory round to duplicate its overall length. Basically, with a factory round installed in the shell holder, you raise the ram all the way up, then install the bullet seating die until it just touches. Lock down the lock ring finger tight, and then screw down the top portion bullet seating stem until it just kisses the bullet. From here, adjust your overall length to your liking. Now finally, we're going to install the factory Colic crimp die. Basically, you're going to want to screw in the die until it touches the shell holder, and using a dummy case, screw in the die a little bit at a time until you get the crimp you want. And if you're using a progressive press or a turret press, this is the time to function check your dies and make sure nothing hangs up. Now, as far as the components I'm using to build these cartridges, as a disclaimer, that's at user discretion and use at your own risk. Basically, I'm using Starline straight wall 223 cases, and I have to fireform them in order to use them properly. Fireforming these cases causes a risk for headspace separation. Now, like I mentioned, I actually built this barrel and I reamed it myself. When chambering this 9mm barrel to 350 Legend, I accounted for any kind of case hangover. What I ended up doing was not cutting so much of a radius on the back chamber. However, I've also tested some factory KAK industry barrels using the same method, and to my luck, I'm able to actually use Starline straight wall cases and fireform and make the brass. Again, if you're going to do this, that's on your own risk. So far with my testing on the factory 18-inch KAK industry barrel, I've done 7 firings with the Starline brass. Taking one of those pieces of brass, I cut it in half to look for any kind of thinning on the brass case walls. So far, everything looks pretty good. Now, I know there's some of you guys out there who are wondering if you can convert 5.56 or 223 brass into 350 Legend. I'll tell you what, I tried this, and I did a controlled method of remote firing my rifle, putting my rifle at risk for damage. And to some success, I've managed to make some pieces of brass work. But again, it's definitely not worth it. You can see here that there's quite a bit of expansion that needs to happen in order to fill the case walls. Also to mention, the overall length fell short of my chamber. This caused light primer strikes on most of these cases. So like I mentioned, I've risked my own rifle, so you guys don't have to, and I'm sharing this information with you. So I recommend just buying a factory loaded ammunition and use the brass on that. In fact, Winchester just came out with their plinking ammo for about $10 a box. That's pretty good. And just a few days ago, Federal just announced their custom shop to make custom loads for the 350 Legend. Also, they got their fusion line in the 350 Legend as well, for a 160 grain and a 180 grain bonded bullet. Well folks, I hope this helped you out. If you found this informational, don't forget to smash that thumbs up button, subscribe. As always, there will be more testing in the future, so don't forget to hit that bell icon so you don't miss any videos. I hope to try out some heavy grain bullets to see what these things could do as far as accuracy and penetration. As a caster and reloader, I'm having a blast with this cartridge. There's just a plethora, I mean a huge abundance of bullet selection, and that's what makes it fun. Shooting it out of a semi-automatic, well, that makes it even better. Well folks, thanks for watching, thanks for sticking around, stay tuned, there's always more, and I'll catch you guys in the next video.